Perfect. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. Thanks so much for doing this. I suspect you're still quite knackered from all the traveling. And how long have you been back in Europe, sort of in your own bed?
I came back like Tuesday evening. We had like a PR event with Hyundai friends on Wednesday, and yeah, and then I was basically the whole family was sick, and now I'm sick. So
You're sick?
yeah, but it'll be fine.
Ah, flu.
Yeah,
Ah, sorry. Well, thank you so much for doing this. We'll keep it very short as we can.
no
Terry, when
problem.
last we spoke, we were in Finland, and you were telling me
Yeah,
that I was saying, "Oh, the Acropolis, mega," and you said, "Oh, yeah, I'm mega," but things can happen there. I think it was a steering ball joint, something like that. But anyway. You did it perfectly and you won it. And now,
thank you.
very good points in Chile. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
My question to you is that very fine balancing act between pace and finishing and reliability, and how difficult that is under pressure as well. It's just brilliant how you've done that.
yeah. I mean, obviously, it's very challenging, of course, because we know that somehow we need to keep a close look on our main rivals, try to not be too far away on the Saturday evening standings, and give it an extra push on Sunday because our main rivals will take more risks than us. But on the other hand, we know that yeah, finishing is crucial. And yeah, at the moment it's ours to lose, that's for sure. So we need to have the clever approach, which sometimes, yeah, it's a bit boring on the other hand, because obviously I know that, yeah, somehow we cannot show the true potential, the true performance, but I would say it's all part of the game. With yeah, the gap we were able to pull out on the beginning of the season. Yeah, the end of the season is a bit more, yeah, like managing that gap.
I'm tempting fate here. Hopefully not. I'm touching wood. But I think it's fair to say, is it correct to say you haven't actually had a puncture since, well, we haven't had a puncture for a long time, right? And I'm wondering if that's
Yeah.
an art and a skill, or do you just see that as pure luck?
No, generally throughout the season we are very good on that side. I think it's not very often that we puncture throughout the season, but of course it happened, like it does for everybody. I think our last puncture actually was in Greece on the final stage, crossing the finish line, like 1K before the finish.
Oh,
I
really?
got a front left puncture. But yeah, there was nothing to worry about. We were close to finish the stage and get that needed victory.
Terry, I know that the others always have explanations and excuses, if that's the right word. But Lota 2, special stage 11 on Chile, Terry Neuville, +5 on Rovanpera, +18 on Tanak, in the fog, very fast downhill section. That was just amazing to watch. Amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was good. I mean, obviously, when the feeling is there and you have trust in your pace notes in those conditions, I knew that it was possible in the fog um, to make a gap or whatever to lose a lot of time, because basically the fog, when it's a bit windy, is moving super quickly, and you can have the fog in the worst conditions, as you can have free visibility in 85% of the stage, and you don't know. So it was crucial for us to keep a good rhythm, um, and yeah, obviously push a bit more than what we usually did. Um, but I have to say we got through quite well. I don't
Oof.
know if we were more lucky than the others in terms of the weather conditions. But what's for sure, it's you never know, yeah, what have been the conditions for the others, and I didn't compare. So, but we got through quite well. I felt comfortable also in the fog, and I think we did what we had to do.
In the middle of the fog, and Martin is talking as normal, you suddenly say something which I can't quite hear what it is. Do you remember that moment? I think the word jolie comes up and something like this is pretty or something like that, but I may be wrong.
Um, I don't remember now, to be honest. But for sure, we were talking about the condition. That's for sure. I at the end of the stage, I know we were talking and we said that actually it was quite enjoyable. And obviously I was wearing these orange glasses, and they definitely give you, yeah, a bit of an advantage because the contrasts are better. And I'm sure it was helping me because at some point, I mean, in the middle of the stage, which hasn't been seen on the pictures yet, but we were driving like 40 or 50 kph in a section where we could drive 120. And I'm sure Martin could see absolutely nothing, where I was still able to at least see the edges of the road at some places. And that's why he was so impressed by that stage as well.
Well, he needs to get some orange lenses too, quite
Yeah,
obviously.
probably.
But it was interesting also at the end of the stage to hear Tanak saying that he was actually, there was some glare in the windscreen for him in the fog, and he was finding it very difficult because of that glare. And I wonder if that's something that's characteristic of all the Hyundais, but because of your orange lenses, it diffused that.
Generally, it was like little drops all the time, and
Mm.
it made it very, very challenging when it's very humid fog. In addition to, yeah, the bad visibility, your windscreen is constantly wet, and yeah, you don't see very clear. So for sure, that's an extra difficulty.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that's what we have to deal
Yeah.
with.
On the recce, Terry, when you are in that on that stage, and it's a possibility of fog, presumably because of historical weather conditions. Do you actually think in terms of what are we going to do here if there is fog? And do you actually have pace notes
Yeah.
that reflect that?
Sure, sure, sure. In this rally, since our first experience, we have had heavy fog since Reiki, and actually much less in 2019, much less during the rally itself. But we we took already any kind of distance between each corner because it's only the distance between the corners which can give you some kind of feedback where you actually are between those two corners. Where on rallies where we don't necessarily expect fog, um, we can have also different wordings which don't necessarily give us the distance, but exact distance, but radar, yeah, like is something a long distance is coming or radar a short distance, and so
Mm.
on. So we use those distances, basically, which are on the pace notes, but which are only used if it's fog. And if it's no fog, we use the OZO system, which basically makes it less complex and yeah, less information
Right.
to deal with in a good visibility situation.
So brilliant job by Martin then to keep up with all that. It must be
Yeah,
so, I
definitely.
cannot imagine how difficult that is.
Mm.
Terry, the championship now, obviously don't want to say it's all over by any means, but I guess you're looking forward to the next rally, right? And why do you like tarmac more than gravel, if I think I'm correct in saying that?
Obviously looking forward, of course, first of all, because this handicap by being first on the road on most of the gravel rallies, on nearly all, doesn't exist. So firstly, we should have actually good conditions, and maybe in like rainy conditions, even the best road position to deal with, and that's giving us the slight advantage. And then furthermore, I have gone on tarmac in the Belgian Championship. There's no gravel. I also always enjoyed driving on tarmac, the sensation you get from, yeah, a proper racing car, and yeah, the adrenaline by going super fast, but knowing that the smallest mistakes can be crucial as well, makes it exciting. And it has always been, yeah, super fun for me, and I have always felt very comfortable with that.
Speaking of the cleaning of the road, Ogier, for me, who spends most of my time in Formula One, he was surprisingly critical of you,
Maybe you should stop crying and learn driving fast on the road.
complaining about having to clean the road. I guess that's an historical thing where at some point he had to do the same thing or whatever, and you made comments. I don't know, but what do you think about that with the dust settling now a little bit?
No, yeah, I think it's several factors which we have to take into account. Of course, he has been cleaning for a long time, and we have all been pushing already in that time to get back the qualification, which gives a better chance to everybody. However, yeah, he has been complaining for a long time, and it was acceptable because, of course, you don't want to be the one who's punished all the time. However, I have been cleaning as well when I was fighting against him for many rallies in some of the seasons where I have been leading the championship for 4, 5, 6 rounds in a row, and I also knew that it was tough. However, this year we have a different kind of scenario where um, first at all, we have more part-time drivers and more competitive part-time drivers, starting from the back row on every single event, which obviously makes it for us even more challenging. Furthermore, we have the fact that we had seven gravel rallies in a row, which isn't for long that it exists. And we have always had in the past years, when Ogier was still competing for a full championship, we have always had Rally Germany in the middle of those row of gravel rallies. So there was like 3 or 4 gravel rallies, a tarmac event, and another 3 or 4, which basically cut a little bit those disadvantage, as well as we had Rally GB at the end of the year, which has always been a wet gravel rally, and the disadvantage didn't exist. So we had those factors into account as well. We have to take that in Latvia this year we had only single passes on first passes on the stages and no second pass, which made it even more challenging for me on a Friday. So obviously, of course, I was complaining definitely a lot. And a big difference as well is that in the past we have been driving on Michelin, where for now we are driving on Pirelli, and on the Michelin, um, only the few first cars were basically um, able to use soft compounds. Wherever from the fourth or fifth cars on, they had to use the hard compound. Otherwise, they wouldn't finish the loop, and that
So it
made
was
it for
less of a
them.
disadvantage, yeah.
There was less of a disadvantage because we could basically take that advantage from the soft tire by reducing the gap of the cleaning effect. And this isn't the case with the Pirelli because we are using soft tires in the morning, and we are even using soft tires for the afternoon loop. So that that advantage with the Michelin we had has completely gone. So it makes it a complete different situation. And knowing as well that for now, points are already given on Saturday, it gives you even less of a time to catch back step by step some positions.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different scenario which we can't compare. But of course, the fact that I have been managing my advantage in the championship over the last few races, I haven't been very competitive in opening the road, that's for sure.
Well, given all of that, I'm amazed how restrained you were and how much self-control you had just to say no comment for the rally, which is obviously the right thing to do, but I mean, unbelievable, really.
Maybe you should stop crying and learn driving fast on the road.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, at that point it was out of context. It would have been, yeah, arguable if there was a context where it fits, but there wasn't, and so
No.
for me, there was nothing to comment on that.
And do you find Martin is a big help on things like that as well, in terms of you two just chatting in the car on the road sections and things like that, keeping calm?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I really like at him is that he let me do. He's in full trust, and he, yeah, he just gives a bit of advice about, yeah, our targets for the event. He is very sensible on that, and always making sure that we follow our target, and that's perfectly matching with yeah, what I'm doing and what we need.
And just talking about the cleaning, you lost P3 in Chile, if that's the right word. Lost probably isn't the right word, but it was only 17 seconds in the end, which possibly is just the cleaning effect, right?
Yeah, partly. I mean, not only because we have been really struggling with the setup on the first day. I definitely made the wrong choice by choosing the same dampers as I have used for the last couple of gravel events, especially in Greece, Sardinia, and Portugal, which are yeah, hotter events where yeah, the ground is more hard, the grip basically is better. And so the damper I choose for wasn't right, and we didn't get it right until Saturday, where we switched to another set of dampers with a different set of springs, which made it better. Didn't made it great, to be honest, but it made it better. And I think if we had all those details together, yeah, we haven't been fast enough for sure, and we weren't in position anymore to fight really for podium position.
But given that Ott is now second in the championship, how much information do you have on what he's running and setup he has?
No, there's complete transparency, so there's no secrets. Whatever, we do not necessarily have the same feedbacks and likings, preferences. So um, some rallies we are running exactly the same. Whatever on some other events, we run different settings, and there's no secret. His has been best at some point. Mine has been best on others, and yeah. At the end, we of course exchange on those our experiences and try to improve for the upcoming events.
Just a couple of quick questions because I don't want to keep you any too longer, just a few minutes, Thierry. One is when you're driving a road car now, automatic, do you brake with the left or the right foot?
No, with the right foot.
Do you?
Yeah, sure, sure. I mean, I'm driving. I'm in a relaxed mode, and I'm not pushing it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but if there was a
I,
drama and a dog suddenly ran out in front of you, which foot do you think reflex you would go with?
with the right one for sure. I mean, it's obviously in our rally car, and in any race cars, the brake pedal is aligned in front of the left foot. Whatever on a road car, it's not really in a good position to use the left foot.
Okay, second one, I was chatting to Stoffel Vandoorne in Singapore, just walking along the pits with him, and your name came up because I mentioned I did the shakedown with you, and he said, "Oh
Yeah.
wow, yeah, yeah, we grew up kind of together in motorsport in Belgium, and he went one way and I went the other." And I'm just wondering if going right back to that moment when you decided not to be a race driver, to be a rally driver, was there a specific day, a specific moment, a specific thing?
Yeah, obviously, my parents didn't have the financial, yeah, foundings to make me run in karting, so I basically had to wait until I got some money myself to start in autocross and get the opportunity to start my rallying career. So there was basically no opportunity for me. However, quickly I have been taken into the RACB national team, so the Belgian Federation national team, which supported me to develop my rally career. And I remember very well Stoffel joining the national team the same year or the year after. He was still a young child. He was like 15 or 16-year-old maximum. And I remember still us being in the training camp in Oslo, and all all bars and coffees were open from 21 only. So the only place we could go with him was the strip club, where he could enter at 17 or 18 already. So that was a super cool experience and still great memories.
Genesis hypercar, Thierry Neuville, 2026, 27. Spa, 24 hours, whatever. Be quite cool,
No,
wouldn't
yeah, for sure. But as long as I can stick to rallying, I will stick to rallying.
it?
It has it has plenty of advantages. So first of all, it's where I'm best in. My body isn't really made for hypercars in terms of weight. I would be too happy, and I would need to request a driver's minimum weight, such as Max Verstappen is trying to push at the moment. For sure, because otherwise I wouldn't be that competitive.
Brilliant, Terry. Thank you so much. If we can just finish with just some thoughts on Japan also. I'm interested to know how you think you might go against Toyota in Japan. Everybody says it's their home rally, but it's not far away from Korea either, actually.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're in a tricky situation where the manufacturer's championship is crucial for the team and the brand, and obviously I won't be fighting for that title in Japan, which basically means also that we need to get things done in Central European for the championship, for the drivers' championship. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't be very amazed and very relaxed to take lots of risk in Japan, especially where Toyota again will be with a strong drivers lineup and will make our life difficult. So that's why Central European is a challenging event where hopefully our third car as well can go and catch a lot of points, where we can get things done for the drivers' championship, and I would be free to to allow myself to get back in the usual rhythm and push as much as we can to save that second title. That would be the optimal situation. Even this isn't the case, and we can't get it done in Central European for whatever reason. We need to. It will be a fine line for the Japan Rally.